Well, thanks again for joining us for the 21 days of prayer and worship. We hope that you're encouraged today. Let's continue looking at the life of Job. Yesterday, we found out that Job was an upright man. He lived his life to please God. One day, Satan came to the throne of God, and God said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? No one like him on the earth. He's blameless, upright, a man who fears God, shuns evil." And then Satan says, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Haven't you put a hedge of protection around him and his household and everything he has? You bless the work of his hands so that his flocks and herds spread throughout the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he'll curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Very well then, everything he has is in your hands, but on the man himself don't lay a finger." Then Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Job's getting ready to go through the ultimate test. Satan has accused God of being naive. He tells God, "Listen, the only reason Job loves you is because you've been good to him. You've made him rich and famous and healthy. All his kids live nearby. Take that away, and I'll show you that Job doesn't really love you. He loves you for what he can get from you. Turn the blessing off in his life, and you'll see that he could care less about you." I want you to understand, the book of Job isn't about God being on trial. It's about the human race being on trial. Satan is accusing us of only following God when life is good. He's accusing us that we really don't have a relationship with God because we really are, all we're doing really is mooching off of God. Well, God allows Satan limited permission to harm Job, and one day he loses everything. Loses his business, his riches, loses his kids. Messenger after messenger came to Job and told him the bad news. And all this, Job got up, tore his robe, shaved his head, and then he fell to the ground and worshiped. "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I'll depart. The Lord gives, and the Lord's taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." And in all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. Notice Job mourned and wept before he worshiped. He didn't act like nothing happened. He didn't shake his fist at God and curse him as Satan had predicted. He said, "Everything I have belongs to God, and I'm going to trust him. May the name of the Lord be praised." So here's the next truth that I want you to get. Faith is worshiping God even when you don't feel like it. When my youngest daughter, Cammie, came out of that almost 7-hour surgery, that poor kid was in so much pain. They brought Christy and I into the recovery room to see her. She was on some major narcotics. You ever seen those videos of kids who, after getting their wisdom teeth out, how wiggity-whack they are? She was kind of loopy like that. They had to cut into her side, onto her back to get to the damaged area, to get back to the spine. They even had to break some of her ribs. She said to Christy, "I feel like my side is on fire." Christy tried to comfort her and ask her, "Do you want to hear a song to take your mind off the pain?" Now, Cammie is my redheaded daughter who leads us in worship at several of our campuses, playing the acoustic guitar. You've probably seen her on stage. She asked, "Where's Daddy?" I said, "Well, I'm right here." Christy was kind of blocking me. She didn't know I was right by her side. She said, "Dad, I want you to play the song." Now, there's a reason she turned to me to have the song played. My wife's taste in music is terrible. She's a big fan of the Little River Band, the Bee Gees, and other incredibly terrible music like that. Cammie didn't need a tune from the Carpenters to get her through. You understand what I'm saying? I asked her, "What song do you want to hear?" With tears streaming down her face, she said, "I want to hear Another in the Fire." That seemed appropriate to me since her back was, pretty much on fire. I played that song in the recovery room, and all three of us sang that song quietly together. Do you know what that song's about? It's about the fact that no matter what we face, we never face anything alone. There was another in the fire, standing next to me. There was another in the waters, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free, there is a cross that bears the burden where another died for me. There is another in the fire. What Cammie and Job were doing in the moment of pain was what we should be doing as well. They were worshiping God and using worship as a weapon. You want to overcome depression? Sing your heart out to God. You want to wash away your anxiety and your worries? Sing your heart out to God. You want to get the focus off of your problems and onto the promises of God? Then you use worship as a weapon and lift your voice to Jesus. And if you'll do this, there will be a peace that overtakes you. There will be an assurance that God has got your back and that you're not going to be alone. Everything's going to be okay. Today we've added a playlist for some of our favorite worship songs. You can download the playlist on Spotify, and rather than returning to the news or returning to some other Facebook or Instagram post, turn that stuff off and turn up the volume and turn to God in worship. Crank it up and make a joyful noise unto the Lord, for the Lord inhabits the praises of his people. Use worship as a weapon. I'll see you tomorrow.